Welcome everyone, welcome to Raceface TV. We're glad that you're here. We missed last week, so we're glad to be back on the air with you guys. And man, we got a special show lined up tonight. I've got my partner in crime, Mr. Tom Baker, who's up in Mooresville, North Carolina. And then we're gonna go all the way out to California with one of our Raceface brand development drivers, Ryan Vargas. And Ryan has been on the show before, but we thought it was good timing to come back and kind of get caught up with him. So, hey guys, how are you doing tonight?
Fantastic. How about you?
I'm doing good. How about you, Ryan?
Doing great. Thank you guys for having me again.
All right. So, Ryan, I know there's been a lot going on since your last visit to the show. So, give us an update on what's going on in the world of Ryan Vargas.
Well, after we spoke and we had that big technical issue, we went back to Irwindale. We were running pretty well. Got caught up in what I would call an expensive Oreo, which sent me up into the air, landing on some cars, and really tore up a lot of cars. In a sense, the expensive Oreo. So we had to rebuild the car, get the car all pieced back together. We've been really working to find the speed back, and we've been getting there. We've been getting closer and closer each week. We went to Bakersfield just a handful of weeks back, got a second and a third, chasing down the national points leader, Trevor Huddleston, and then we went back to Irwindale last weekend and ran all the way from the back after having to start last, and finished a solid 6th place finish. So our speed is there. We just need to get the track position.
All right. Well, you know what? And I think that I've texted you probably a couple times. You know, what makes a champion is how you handle the bad days. They're always going to be there. They're never going to go away. So, you know, being able to handle those bad days. And Tom, I know that you, in your coaching sessions, you spend a lot of time on that. I think that segment is performance versus results is the segment that you talk about that on. So, you know, what's your thoughts about that?
Well, yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, the idea of focusing on performance versus result. And the reason that we do that is because we can't always control the circumstances that come together to result in the result, but we can control our performance. And in the case of a race car driver, of course, what you do inside the car with, you know, your hands and feet, that's totally within your control. Of course, what happens around you is not. So yeah, that's, you know, it's one of the hardest things a lot of times to teach a young driver to do, or a young athlete to do, because around them are so many people who are only focused on the results, and it's about winning or losing. And really, you know, if you're developing in anything, you really want to be focused on, did I do something better today than I did yesterday? And if you did, then regardless of the result, then it was a good day. And that's sometimes hard to teach to somebody who's been so conditioned to believe that if you haven't won, you've lost. And, you know, it's really much more than that, Rod. As you know, when you're developing a skill of any type, you know, there's that period of I've got to learn and I've got to grow. And so it's not so much about winning versus losing. It's more about, am I getting better or not? If I did good and somebody put me in the wall, was nothing I could do about that.
Right. So Ryan, let me ask you a question. What do you do from a mental standpoint when you do have those bad days? You know, and they're going to happen throughout your career. I mean, you've got a long, long career in front of you. But what do you do mentally yourself to kind of get yourself back in that positive mindset?
Well, one thing I do, I mean, personally, I like to just always have a positive attitude about everything, because there's always a reason why something happens. And so when I see that I'm starting 17th on one night, I'm like, okay, I'm supposed to start 17th because I'm supposed to put on a show tonight. I'm supposed to come from the back and drive to the front. That's what my job tonight is supposed to be. So, I mean, it's been tough. I've had to, you know, and I've had to change how I act in some situations, because I've been fortunate enough to not have a season where there's been bad finishes and bad runs and even some incidents. So having to come back and, you know, change my attitude to those situations has been a really big learning experience, especially this year. And I mean, you hear me on the radio joking with my spotter. They did the national anthem. There was fireworks going off in the back on hot rods driving by. And I told him the only thing that'd make it more American if there was a bald eagle flying over. I just try to have fun with it. I joke about stuff. So it's...
That wasn't a plug towards Tom and I, was it, the bald part?
But yeah, it was it might have been.
It might have been.
Goes on what goes on in a racer's head in the middle of the race.
I know if we waited long enough.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to tell you one of the things that I like. If you're fans out there of racing, you know what? You need to check out, you need to go to Facebook. What the heck does that come from? I was thinking about Tom Baker and it turned into Facebook. But you need to go to Facebook and you need to friend Ryan Vargas, because I'm going to tell you what, man, he is always active on social media. I see some of the coolest stuff from a race car driver that Ryan is posting, and like he said, he's always in a good attitude. He's always having fun. He's always sharing with his fans. And I'm telling you, Ryan, that's going to pay off big for you in the future, because we all know that part of racing today is having that big fan base. And I've been noticing too that not only do you drive the car, but you've been doing a lot of working on the car and sharing with people how much you're actually learning. And so share with the viewers, if you would, how much that's meant to you this year. I know you probably have worked on the car forever, but it seems like you've been more active in that role this year. And is that really helping you to be able to communicate with your crew chief during a race?
Oh, it's helping out big time. I mean, yeah, I mean, everybody could say Ryan's a daddy's money kid. I am. I don't have a job. My parents are funding my racing, and so are my sponsors and everybody who helps me out. My goal is I don't want to live up to that stereotype and not know what the car is. I want to work hard on the car. I want to be able to know and explain, okay, the car's doing this. Maybe we need to do this change. Maybe we do need to go up on the right rear spring or go down on the track bar. I want to be able to know this. And spending time in the shop, learning from my crew chief Charles and my crew guys Vince and Kevin, it's really special to me, because I know these guys work really hard, and every time I'm on the track, I know how much work goes into the car. That's what gives me a whole nother amount of respect for what goes into the car, because I can go on the track in the back of my mind knowing that there is a plethora of hours put into the car, and I'm always going to give them the best run I can.
So let me ask you something. Does that also mean that you know how much it takes to put the car back together? So sometimes when you're looking at that situation and you're going, can I really fit in there or not? And you know what, I got plenty of time, and maybe it's not worth the chance right now. Maybe I'll just kind of come back, because you know that you might have to participate in the reconstruction of that car.
Exactly. And I mean, there's been plenty of those situations this year because of the whole invert rule that is now taking place across the Wheeling Series tracks, where there's a minimum of 8 cars inverting in the second main event if it's a twin night. So you really have to pick and choose when you're going to pass a car, because you don't want to put your nose somewhere where you can't put it. And I mean, there's been times in like the first main event of a twin main that I've had the opportunity to go buy a car, but I see the events going around, how dicey it's getting. I just back out. I'm like, it's not worth it. There's no need to put your car or anybody else's car in danger so early in the night.
All right, team owners, did you just hear that? Here's a young race car driver that's saying, I'm going to take care of your equipment. And Tom, as we both know, that's really important for a car owner.
Well, it really is. I mean, that's Racecraft. You know, anybody can go out and with a little time in a car, learning to go faster and faster and faster by themselves. It's when you get all those other cars out there with you, and you've got to learn to time passes and think about, and in very short amounts of time, just kind of know when to make that move or when to lay back, like Ryan was talking about. That's really what Racecraft is. And you know, we've had a big story, obviously, over the last couple of days that's broken. William Byron getting promoted after only a year in the Xfinity Series up to the Cup Series for next year in the 5-car for Rick Hendrick. And I would argue that a big part of the reason why Rick is doing that and taking a chance on William Byron so soon is that they've watched him over the course of the last few years of his career, and William does not put that car in a lot of high-risk places. You rarely see William crash out of an event. He's very calm. He's very focused. He's a good leader for being so young, and I think that's what really has gotten him to the point where now he's going to be making his Cup debut with Hendrick Motorsports at Daytona next year, and that's a pretty big deal. And I think, you know, what Ryan just said, learning to work on the car and being a part of all of that and what's going on in the garage, you know what's going on with that race car then, and you know more about where that car's at in terms of how far can I push it. And, you know, I think that's all part of mastering Racecraft.
Well, you know what? I agree 100% with you, Tom. I mean, the last couple of weeks have been really kind of crazy as far as and we talk about it all the time, but the amount of young talent that's out there,
Yeah.
and now you're starting to see this young talent get moved and excelled quicker than at any other time in the history of this sport that I can remember, and I've been around it for a long time. So, you know, I totally agree with you. Ryan, we also understand, or I don't understand, but I also have been watching how much you've been working out lately, and you've been sharing some of those little pieces of video on your social media pages. And so how important is it that you really get yourself in tip-top physical condition to be able to go out there, especially, I know you've got races coming up this weekend at Irwindale where you got 2 twin 30s. How important is that, and have you been able to see a change? I also, just kind of looking at you there, thinking that you may be able to share your diet idea with me, because it looks like you've taken off a little weight and I need to take off some weight. So what's been going on with you?
Well, I mean, the biggest thing is, I mean, from ever since December, which was the banquet, I looked at photos back in January of myself at the banquet, and I looked at the photos and I was like, where the heck is my chin? There was no chin. And so, what I realized there was, I needed to change something, because when I got home from the banquet, I weighed over 174 pounds when I came up from the NASCAR banquet. And that struck me really bad, because I was like, there's no reason for me to be like that. There's no reason for me to weigh that much. I started dieting, I started working out, doing a lot more running, and just recently I enrolled at the UFC gym here in La Mirada, and now I have a trainer, Frank, who's been giving me different workouts and making me track my calories. So, I'm doing a lot more working out, and it's also, the biggest thing behind it too, it's a big confidence builder as well. It doesn't just help you with your body, your physical, but it also just gets that confidence back in you. Like, you just feel great. You feel great after working out, because you feel like you've just accomplished something. So, I mean, it's a lot of fun, and I'm enjoying every step of the way as I'm getting further and further in my health.
Yeah, well, keep that thought. It's time for us to take a quick commercial break, but I want to come back and pick up right where we left off. So let's catch this quick commercial and we'll be right back with you. We have a simple mission: build champions. And we do this by offering you the opportunity to learn from some of the top individuals in the motorsports industry. And parents, this course is not just for young drivers, but for you as well. Our 8-week online course will cover marketing and branding, how to build a fan base, how to use social media effectively, how to master the media, and much, much more. So if you are looking for a competitive advantage, then Raceface University is for you. We look forward to making you one of our future champions. Welcome to Raceface Brand Development. You might be asking, what is Raceface Brand Development? We are all about helping young drivers get noticed while creating a brand. If your branding isn't part of your strategy and you're looking for a competitive advantage in the marketplace, I encourage you to reach out to us at Raceface Brand Development and let us provide you a free consultation on how we can help further your driver's career. All right, well, welcome back, everybody. We're glad that you're back with us, and we're talking to young Ryan Vargas out in California, and my co-partner, Tom Baker up in Mooresville, North Carolina. And when we went to the commercial break, Ryan, we were talking about working out and getting yourself in physical condition and how much that's not only helping you from a physical standpoint, but also a mental standpoint. So what I'd like for you to do is just share with us a little bit, what does a day look like when Ryan goes to the gym? I heard you say you're at the UFC gym. Does that mean that you're preparing that if, let's just say one of those over-anxious drivers try to get a little aggressive with you, I could be Ryan's like, dude, not a good idea. I'm going to take you down right here. So Kyle Busch, if you're watching, and you know, in a couple of years when Ryan's up there where you're at, you better watch out because he may kick your butt.
Oh, man. But no, I mean, my average days, I mean, I usually, well, now with school starting, I'll be getting up, going to school, doing that stuff, and then I'll probably be spending my, eating a pretty balanced lunch. I would have, like, my proteins or something like that, or if it's at school, I'll have, like, a bowl of fruit for lunch because they have little fruit cups there. I'll have some fruit. Then I'll go home, have a little snack, and yes, I have a snack. I don't always have the prettiest, most healthy snacks. I come home, have a bag of chips and a drink, like a Gatorade or something. No big deal. It's nothing crazy. Then I go to the gym or I go for a run. I love running. And also, the university by here, Biola University, they have their pool that's open. So I go to their pool and I'll do a couple laps. I love swimming. I mean, shoot, California, the beach is 30 minutes away. I mean, the ocean's right there. There's water. I don't know how we're going to drop. There's water everywhere. But it's insane. I mean, there's so many resources for me to work with, and I've just never really thought of it until this year. And it's like I said, it's been a real big confidence booster.
Well, that's awesome. So it's time to go back to school. So what does all the other kids in your school think about having this hotshot race car driver being in their classes and stuff like that? Do you get a lot of recognition at school for your racing?
Yeah, the school does give me a lot of recognition. We had a La Mirada High School night at the races scheduled back earlier this year, but it got rained out. So that was a bummer, and it was right before school got out for summer, so there wasn't really a rescheduled date for that. So we'll probably have one next year or something like that. But it's funny, I always get the same questions from every other kid that finds out that I've raced. 1, does it have NOS? And 2, can you die? 3, have you been in a crash? It's always the same 3 questions, and it's always fun.
And so, Tom, what is his answers to those? Yes, yes, and yes, and all.
No, yes, and absolutely, I think is, if I remember the order of the questions.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't have NOS. Yes, it's possible to die. And absolutely, I've been in crashes.
Yeah. And they're not fun. They hurt. Like I said, I got put in that expensive Oreo for a few months back. I was on top of a car. Another car was hitting into me, and I was on that car. That poor car underneath me got squashed. So
you were the filling in the middle.
Yeah, we were the filling in the middle. It was just a really expensive Oreo right there. That's all I could say.
So what's coming up for the rest of the season for Ryan? What's the rest of your year look like? And then again, I know we talked about it the first time you were up, but what's your goals for 2018?
Well, the rest of the year, we're going to finish out the year at Irwindale Speedway, do a little bit more racing up in Kern, Orange Show, and spend some of the winter time maybe doing some races at Havasu Speedway. And I mean, the main goal is just to keep progressing. It's not just progressing in the divisions that I race in, but also just keep progressing mentally. I'm always the biggest critic of myself. I know I need more experience. I know I need more track time. There are the drivers at Irwindale, they push me because I'm always trying to catch them. And when I do catch them on the races where I'm right behind them, it's really cool because I'm seeing these racers that I was watching as a kid in the grandstands in the front row. Now I'm on their butt, and now I'm looking to pass them. So, I mean, being able to run with them and progressing mentally and learning new things every week. I mean, working on the car as well. I mean, this is the first week in a very long time where I've been working on the car, but it's because I was been doing stuff at school. So when I get opportunities to work on the car and learn and be at the racetrack and learn then as well, that's progressing to me.
Well, that's all great. We wish you all the luck for the rest of the year. So let me ask you another question here. Where do you see yourself in a couple of years? In
a couple years, hopefully doing something within NASCAR. I want to be racing. I want to be doing what I can. I want to be hopefully in a truck series ride, or maybe Xfinity. That's a goal. Those are goals right there. But if not, my long-term goal, I would love to just be involved with the sport, be doing something, whether it's working on cars, at the race shops, doing something, because this has been, making it this far has been a dream in itself. And so every step that I take, every further level I go up, I'm just thankful. And so I never forget those who get me to where I am, and it's been a really fun ride, so I hope to keep going.
Well, Tom, you know, we've talked a lot about the spirit that Ryan has. We know he's got
Yes.
driving capabilities. You know what? If you're a sponsor out there and you're looking for somebody to really attach with, I'm gonna give him a personal endorsement, because I think he's the total package. And you know, a lot of people watching tonight may not know, but Ryan was actually the winner of the Wendell Scott Trailblazer Award, which was a big deal to be able to win that award. So, you know, again, I think he's a talented driver. I think that he's got the total package. And Tom, I know that you work with Ryan all the time and probably know him as well as anybody out there. So what do you think about Ryan?
Well, I think you're exactly right. I think Ryan does have he has a very infectious attitude, a very infectious smile. He has a very infectious way about him. He's very positive. He's very upbeat. You know, he obviously overcame some challenges when he was younger that have put him in a situation where, you know, he now works with different charities and such, and, you know, that's a part of his day, and a part of his racing is just to give back. And so when you see him at the track and he's, you know, wearing the Brock umbrella, he's wearing the, you know, the American flag cape or whatever, you know, that's all part of who he is. He's got a nice sense of humor. He's just a lot of fun to work with and be around. And I think more than anything in this day and age, I mean, let's face it, Rod, you and I both know there's a ton of young talent out there. And I think, you know, they're all great drivers. They all have the talent on the track. I think what separates these kids is more, who are they? And, you know, I just don't think they come in any better a package or more marketable a package than Ryan Vargas. And I'm really excited to see where the next 2 or 3 years take him, because I think he really has the potential to go all the way to the top in the sport. And I hope that, you know, things are able to come together in a way that allows for that to happen. And I know he'll work as hard as he has to in order to make it happen. And that's, you know, that's really the big thing, is the driver has to want it bad enough, almost as bad as your next breath at this point. And, you know, Ryan surely does. And he's demonstrated that with the commitment he's made to improve himself physically and mentally, and you know, learn more about the race car.
Well, I know this. I know that, Ryan, I know you've got a new website. I know that you have a new mobile app that you're going to be able to start handing out by no later than Tuesday. And that's all going to help you continue to build that fan base that you have. And then again, for those that don't know it, next Tuesday night at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, we're going to be starting the Raceface Brand Development Podcast. And so we're going to be interviewing our drivers on Monday, just real short interviews, probably somewhere around 5 to 7 to 10 minutes maybe. And then we're going to be sharing that out on SoundCloud, iTunes. We're going to be doing that on Facebook, and then we're going to be piping that into the mobile applications, not only for Ryan, but also for, you know, for Jesse Love, for Sam Mayer, for Adam Lemke, for Sheldon Creed, and for all of our drivers. So that's going to be pretty cool. That's going to be something a little bit different, and we're really excited about that. So Ryan, we're just about ready to wrap up here. We've just got a few minutes left. So tell us something that maybe no one knows about Ryan off the track, and what type of things that you like to do. What do you do to keep busy? I know that most racers like, well, you know what, if I'm not racing, I'm racing something else, or I'm hanging out the racetrack. And I want to let you know, I thought it was extremely cool that you went down and supported Jesse Love the other night, and you shared that out on social media, man. It actually made my day. I'm sitting there that night, and I'm looking at it, and I walk out with this big smile on my face, and Carol goes, "What'd you watch? See something there?" I said, "No, I saw the coolest thing, that Ryan actually was there supporting one of his fellow Raceface Brand Development drivers, Jesse Love." So thumbs up on that. I thought that was just awesome.
Yeah, and it was really cool because, I mean, it was his first time at Orange Show. I raced Bandoleros at Orange Show, got the championship there back in 2014, did some late model races as well there. And so it was really cool. I wanted to go see how he did. He did pretty well, got a top 5 finish, I saw. And, I mean, I was also out there helping / coaching the Bandolero driver I helped, Cody Kimley. And he was doing great. He got caught up in a little first lap incident when another car got loose. But it was a fun night overall. And, I mean, whenever I'm not racing, I always have to get my cranberry juice in the morning, then go out and do something. I have to be either at the race shop, working on cars, working out, going to a racetrack to help whoever needs it. I mean, my main thing while I was at Orange Show, I was helping my crew guy, Kevin, who was racing his mini stock. So that was a lot of fun right there. And then just basically everything. I mean, spending time at home with the dogs, as you could hear barking right now probably, and it's just hanging out, having fun with it. Because if I'm not having fun with it, then why do it? So everything I do, every step I take in racing is to have fun.
Well, the really cool thing that I see a lot again on your social media sites is the fact that you are out there working with some of the younger kids, helping them set their cars up. I think that's awesome. So, Ryan, all we want to do is wish you the best of luck throughout the rest of the year. I'm sure we'll have you back on the show before the year's out. Tom, as always, thanks for being with us tonight. We appreciate that. And just a couple quick things as we wrap up tonight's show. Again, make sure you go to Facebook, like Ryan Vargas, check out his sponsors. He's got some great sponsors there. Look for his mobile app coming real quick. Don't forget about the Raceface Brand Development Podcast starting next week. And again, if you've not been to racefaceuniversity.com and you want to learn, I mean, a lot of the stuff that Ryan has been talking about, he's been able to learn with his coaching from Tom Baker. And all of you racers that are out there have the opportunity to get plugged into that. Again, it's racefaceuniversity.com. It's a great 8-week online course where you can learn all of the stuff that Ryan's learning. It's an amazing opportunity. We invite you to do that. Make sure to go to Raceface TV and check out our Facebook page, like our page, share it with your friends. I want to thank all of you for being with us tonight. We look forward to having you back here. As always, go out and support your local racetrack. Matter of fact, as soon as I unplug here, I'm going to be going down to Pinellas Park and checking out Showtime Raceway down there tonight. So I encourage you, support your local track, and we'll see all of you back here next Wednesday night. Have a great weekend.